What's up YouTube, G-Money here. Suspension starts with cleaning, and here I am with suspension parts, cleaning them up, and let me show you how they look clean. These are all the parts after they're clean and after they are painted. Okay, first thing we're going to start doing is putting together the upper control arm joint. Now, these fittings are what belong at the ends of them. Okay, lower control arm is attached, upper control arm is attached as well. With the lower control arm here and the upper control arm on the front, next thing you gotta do is put the strut rod bushings in. On this rod, that's here, the two holes go on the control arm. The opposite side is the side that attaches to the frame. The way it goes is this way. I dipped them into WD-40 before I put them in. This is how a strut rod bushing should look like when it's fully assembled. The semicircular side is supposed to be touching the washer, and the flat side with the bevel are supposed to be facing each other and the frame. Now, when I had a old '02 Dodge Ram van, these went out. And I do want to thank Steve for letting me know what these are a while back. Next, we could always put the coil saddle. The coil saddle sits on top of the control arm. For the sway bar bushings, the better angle is inside the engine compartment. As you see, this is the strut rod bushing that I just installed. And these bolts, I just stuck them in specifically for the sway bar. One bolt on both sides and then attach the second bolt. Now that we have all this stuff on, time for the spindle. Lower control arm here, that's what I'm currently attaching. With the lower control arm attached, let's attach the upper control arm. Next part is the coil. Thing that you got to put on the coil. Then you're going to need a strut. And the way these work is you try to stick them as high. You want to compress it. First, coil insulator. Then you're going to need a strut spring compressor. And the way these work is you try to stick them as high as you possibly can. You want to compress as much as you possibly can. Put them on opposite sides. Here's the coil. What you got to do, you have to put it this direction where the nuts are up top and the threads come to the bottom, or else it's just not going to clear. Sweet. Got the coil on. Got to put this. Got to take all these out. Alright, coil spring is on. The very next step is attaching the plate that covers the coil spring right here. This is my engine compartment. And the plate will be pressed right up against here, and the holes right here is where the nuts and bolts are going to go through. Then we're going to be placing the shock absorber. Alright, the coil spring plate is now attached. So that's how it looks. Now for the shock absorber. We're going to put it through the top here. Can't really fit this in here until you get this plate off. Once you get this plate off, the shock absorber goes in first and then the plate goes over top. Each one of these bolts will try to spin on you. So my solution is put a pry bar up to it, because on the bottom there's nothing that is able to hold on. And then that way nothing spins. Let's go back to the shock absorber over here. This side goes down to the coil, and this side's on top. We have bushings, and then we have nuts. So let's put these on. With the bottom end, you want to make sure to put the flat side up against the shock absorber. Like so. Let's stick it in. Now from here, this is the fun part. That's the threads of the shock absorber. We got to put another rubber, a washer, and a nut on that. Same thing with this. Flat end down. Then you put the washer on. And then put a nut at the end. Let's do it on the other side. Okay, now to get the top end finished up. WD-40 everywhere. Okay, shock absorber is on. Woohoo! And on the other side as well, that is the shock absorber right here going through with the nut, the plate fully attached, coil fully attached, everything is done. So, if you reach, I teach, so reach out what you want to learn next. Okay, shock absorber is on. Woohoo! And on the other side as well, that is the shock absorber right here going through with the nut, the plate fully attached, coil fully attached, everything is done. So, If you reach, I teach. So reach out what you want to learn next.